purpose in your heart. Satan would have us break the law of God in the treatment of disease. Satan wants us to be cut off from God, that we would lose eternal life by breaking the laws of health and contaminating our blood, because he knows that the temple of God is holy, and God will destroy those who destroy the temple of God. This is why the Adventist Church historically has had nothing to do with pharmaceuticals, okay? We do not deal in the article, neither do we be our children, or furnish that virus to others to do so. We are as much opposed to viruses and bees as we are to drugs and medicines. If people must be sick, they had better have it the natural way. This is when we still believed in the health message as a people. How have we fallen? How has Israel fallen? That's all I can say. How have we fallen as a people? We ought to sigh and cry for the abominations that are done in the land, but we're not. We're saying, you can just detox. Sanitarium leadership just told me recently, just detox. Do we detox from death? Can death be detoxed from? Ellen White spoke of pharmaceuticals as dangerous. She said that as a child, Willie was perfectly healthy until he received pharmaceuticals, and that his health was much impaired, and later penned on February 5, here to Kellogg, right? Let us each purpose in our heart to preserve the sanctity of the blood. The apostles of nearly all forms of the apostles of nearly all forms of spiritualism claim to have power to heal. Wonderful cures performed by some clairvoyant or magnetic healer, and mothers trust their dear ones to the magician's charge, and place it as verily in the hands of Satan as if it were standing by her side. In many instances, the future life of the child is controlled by satanic power, which it seems impossible to break. May we, as Daniel, say, I would rather die than defile self and break the very law of God. So many people say, well, I have to. In my country, they take away your children if you don't apply this pharmaceutical to them. My question is to you, in the judgment, it's true, we might lose our children as the Waldensians did their children. But when you stand before the bar of God and he asks you, did you place your children in the hands of Satan? You can say no. I believe God will protect us, and I believe there's no excuse for disobedience. If we, as a people, had refused to bow to Babylon, and Babylon's working or enforcing its mark upon us, we would be in a much better state. I'm not saying that pharmaceuticals are the only mark of the beast. I'm saying that the mark of the beast has more to do with complying and going against the law of God than it has to do with, say, a particular law of God, the fourth commandment. We know the culmination is the fourth commandment. But is the mark of the beast the refusing to disobey the law of God and choosing to instead refusing to disobey the law of God and choosing instead to follow God instead of the law of the land? Or does it have to do with, is it a deeper issue than just the fourth commandment? It is a deeper issue, right? Is the culmination the fourth commandment? Absolutely. Culmination is the fourth commandment. But are we preparing ourselves to receive the mark by bowing to church and government leadership instead of relying on the law of God? So just in case you didn't think that early publications said this, let's zoom in here and see what this early Adventist publications said. And my question to you is, what Adventism are we to follow? Are we to follow the early Adventism that follow the law of God? Or are we to follow the late Adventism, which does not follow the law of God? Which are we to follow? And I have seen sanitarium leadership, which has basically told me I'm blaspheming and ignoring the voice of God if I don't go along with the leadership of the church. That's papalism. That is papalism. We are not to follow the leadership of the church when it does not follow the law of God. And if we continue to do this, we are receiving the mark of the beast. We're preparing ourselves to receive the mark of the beast. I'm going to go on here. All right. So just in case we think that allopathic medicine is okay, Ellen White wrote that we should not act like the other physicians, MDs, who exalt allopathic above every other practice. So is there some practice in allopathy? Yes, the surgical part can be beneficial at times, but most surgeries, we even know from PubMed, are unnecessary, right? So we need to be very careful we actually need it. And derogate other methods of healing as quackery and error. In spite of the high opinions allopathics held regarding their education and healing art, the Lord revealed to her that from the beginning to the present time, the results of allopathy have made a most objectionable showing. Her whole point is in writing these statements was to counsel a renowned medical doctor not to become like his peers who would in fact condemn a poultice of figs, which was used in the Bible, as quackery for the treatment of life-threatening boil, which is commended in the Holy Scriptures. So we need to decide who we're going to follow. Drug medications is to be discarded. On this point, the conscience of the physician must ever be kept tender and true and clean. So we are to discard drug medications. To keep this within time, I'm not going to read the rest of it, but it's very clear that we as a people are to discard drug medications. The counsel sounds application to medicine even today. Mrs. Ellen White said, many have been treated with drugs, and the result has been death. We can't detox from that. The words of Solomon are fitting. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Ecclesiastes 1:9. Anyone familiar with the medical history, the pharmaceutical industry, hospitals, or even the defensive medicine knows that the prescription drugs are still injuring and sending people to early graves. Any Adventist who believes E.G. White's counsel regarding drugs are less relevant because of these legislative measures or the alleged radical changes in drug medications are unfamiliar with the fact or uninterested in examining them. And it is not just the drugs that are the problem, but the medical establishment itself. So the medical establishment itself, in most of our pandemics and plandemics, not to say when we plan something that it's not a real thing, it's a real thing, it's a real pandemic, have killed more people. In the Spanish flu, almost all deaths were caused by giving a level of aspirin that would never be prescribed today. We kill people with it, right? So drug therapy, again, killed almost everybody. Smallpox. It was the pharmaceutical agent that was given to prevent the smallpox, which cause the smallpox and cause paralysis. The naturally occurring disease seldom cause paralysis. So it is the drugs that are killing people. It is not, and the medical industry that is killing people. It is not the following of God's laws, right?